Welcome to the Freely Rooted Mama podcast. Where I am their mother, I make the choice.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Freely Rooted Mama podcast. Excited to have you here today to talk about easy toddler swaps. Before I kind of dive into today's episode, I do apologize a little bit for my voice if I sound a little bit different than other episodes that you've heard me in. It's because I'm getting over a cold that just will not go away in terms of making my voice come back to normal. The blessings of pregnancy is a lowered immune system, and so it's taking me a little longer to recover, but wanted to make sure that I got this episode recorded today. So just bear with my voice a little bit if you can. This episode today actually came from a question that I had in my DMs. So if you have ideas or things you want to learn more about or hear about, just find me on Instagram, DM me, or when you subscribe to my newsletter, there's a little spot at the bottom where you can submit any ideas, questions that you have. So you can find me on one of those two ways. Also, just like a disclaimer in today's episode, first, make sure you do your own research. You can definitely use some of the products that I talk about today, but I always do my own research, even on products that I've used for years, just to make sure that the company hasn't been sold, things haven't changed, they haven't changed the integrity of their ingredients. Things like that change all the time, and the consumer will never know. So I always kind of do my own research every 3 to 6 months on products. The other thing is I don't want you to leave this podcast feeling overwhelmed or like a failure of a mother. There's no such thing. These are all just things that I've learned, again, over the last 10 years that we have switched. And so, yes, now it's our tried and true products that we use, but that wasn't always the case for us. And so I don't want you to go into this episode feeling like, oh my God, I failed. Because many of the things that I'm talking about today aren't talked about on, mainstream media, or isn't common knowledge. It's taken a lot of time talking to a lot of experts to understand the intricacies of all this stuff. So don't want you to leave this episode feeling like a failure. Do what you can in the season that you're in with what you have. That's all I'm going to say there. The first toddler swap today that we're going to talk about is toothpaste. So many of the toothpastes on the market today contain chemicals, parabens, artificial sweeteners, things that kill the bacteria in our mouth, that strip natural minerals that are in our mouth that we need. I know we kind of live in this culture of let's kill all the bacteria out there, but we actually really, really need bacteria. Bacteria are our friends, and we need bacteria in our mouth to help break down food, to pre-digest food, so that when it goes into the digestive system, our digestive system has an easier time. So we choose toothpaste that help enhance that and don't actually strip away those minerals and the bacteria. There's a whole debate here too about fluoride. That's really a personal decision for you. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. We don't do fluoride in our house, but it's a personal decision for you. And there's a lot of biological dentists out there that you can go research, and they have a lot of thoughts on it. Living Well with Michelle, I think, is her name. She's a biological dentist in Utah that I love. She has a lot of great content, and she talks a lot about the pros and cons of all this kind of stuff. So you can go follow her for more information. She's the expert. But in our house, we just don't do it. So the toothpaste that we use here in our home are Revitin, Risewell, Minerals, and Wellnessy. So Revitin is a prebiotic toothpaste. It's really great. I've used it for over 7 years now. The only weird thing about Revitin is it is citrus flavored, so that gets a little hard to get used to for some people, as people are usually used to mint and cinnamon. Especially if you have kiddos that have been using a mint or cinnamon, they may have a little bit harder time with that transition. But if you've got a new kiddo that you're introducing toothpaste to for the first time, this is a great one to start with because they have no idea what it's supposed to taste like. We use that. Again, it's a prebiotic toothpaste, so it helps put good bacteria back into the mouth. Rise Mineral is a mineral-based toothpaste, and it's cinnamon flavored, I believe. I should know because I'm using it right now, but I forgot. And they also have a kids version, and I don't know if their kids version tastes different or has a different flavor. We just give the one that we're using to Isaac. And then Wellnessy is also a mineral-based toothpaste, and it comes in mint. So we rotate through the three. Isaac's never had any issue with any of them. So again, just get them used to something different, but getting them used to something that doesn't contain all the chemicals, parabens, that kind of stuff. The second thing is shower products. So what I'll say about shower products or any kind of beauty products, and that shampoos, conditioners, hair gels, body washes, soaps, all that kind of stuff, is I recommend that you get an app called Think Dirty on your phone. There's a free version and then there's a paid version for $2.99 a month, I think. I've used the free version for years, so don't feel the need to pay for it. But you can easily type in a product that you're using and it will tell you how it rates on a scale of 0 to 10. And we're wanting you to be below a 3. Anything above that usually is containing some kind of parabens, phthalates, sodium lauryl sulfates, fragrances, dyes, all that kind of stuff, which you're wanting to avoid as much as possible. So the Think Dirty app, super great. You can also use the EWG. I have heard, though, that the EWG is great as some of the work that they do is that companies can buy an EWG verified approval stamp, even though their ingredients aren't actually good. So you do have to be a little wary of that, or just, as you start to understand what to look for in terms of ingredients, you can use their platform and then also make your own educated decision about it. But I personally like the Think Dirty app. And so when it comes to shower products for us here in the house, we use Earth Mama and California Baby. Those are our two favorites. Earth Mama has lotions, body washes, diaper balms. They've got a lot of great products, but we use their body wash for Isaac. Yeah, that's what we use for shower products. Moving on to hand soaps, and this will kind of coincide with laundry detergent as well. Again, when they come to both of those things, you can use the Think Dirty app to scan your products of what you're currently using and get a look at, how it currently rates. For example, with laundry detergent and Tide, if you go to Tide's original formula, I think it's like a 9 or a 10 on the scale. And the interesting thing about laundry detergent, I know I kind of skipped over hand soap, but the interesting thing about laundry detergent is most laundry detergents sold at the store are very fragrant. So the transition to using something without a bunch of fragrance can be a little hard for people, I found, because they feel like their clothes aren't as clean because it doesn't have that like deep smell. But that deep smell that like laundry detergent holds is very toxic to our lungs, to our body. Again, this isn't a guilting conversation if you're using Tide. Like, I'm not shaming you in any way. I'm just saying it does cause harm. So over time, when you start to switch off to something else, you'll really then notice, like I can really notice when somebody uses a very potent laundry detergent. I can smell it from like across the room just because we've moved away from it. But in the past I used Tide. And so I felt like it was super normal and it was super weird when I moved away from it. So these things may take some adjustment, like a little bit of an adjustment period, just an FYI. But again, that's where I really like the Think Dirty app because it will show you what is in there that could be, and it kind of breaks it down into columns. So it'll say, oh, these products are hormone disrupting, or these products are known allergens, or these products are not products, these ingredients are cancer causing. So you can kind of be more informed about, okay, like I'm okay with a little bit of ingredients that may be allergenic, but I'm not okay with like hormone disrupting. So you can make your own decision based off what you see in those ingredients. So back to what we use for hand soap, we use Branch Basics. They have a concentrate where you can literally make like 1,000 different products with their concentrate. You can make floor cleaner, window cleaner, toilet cleaner, dishwasher detergent, laundry detergent, hand soap, body wash. Like you name it, the concentrate can make it. And I found that it works extremely well. So we use it as like our all-purpose cleaner spray as well in the kitchen. I use it to like scrub the bathtubs, et cetera, et cetera. But for hand soap, I use their concentrate. They give a little pamphlet with what ratios you need to use. And so, yeah, I use Branch Basics with some essential oils, kind of pick a scent that, matches the season. And that's what we do for hand soap. When it comes to laundry detergent, same thing. We use Branch Basics. When we use, just because I'm on the topic of laundry detergent, when we go to do the dryer, we use wool dryer balls with essential oils on them rather than dryer sheets. Again, I know I'm not doing a swap for dryer sheets, but go research dryer sheets because they are horrible. Sometimes they're worse than the laundry detergent. There's little easy cuts that you can make where you're just like X-nay a whole bunch of toxins. Since we're on the topic of laundry, I'm going to move to clothing as another swap. So clothing is a hard one because it's really hard to find organic clothing that's, not super expensive, that, fits the style that you're looking for. Trust me, not everything in our closets are organic. However, I do make a very big intention with my children and when I'm pregnant to really only be wearing things that are organic or that are like hand-me-downs or I've had for years that are probably already done off gassing toxins. And so if I can just go into that a little bit more for a second, with organic, and again, I know that it's hard because of the pricing and all that kind of stuff. With kiddos, especially as we're about to have a new baby, they actually really don't need that much clothing. You get a lot of clothing from people, which is great, but they really don't need that much. So when we had Isaac, we made the decision that we were going to invest in more organic pieces and have less clothing than, have this closet of clothing that you actually like half of it, you never even get to put on them because they grow so fast. Or we were going to use hand-me-downs from other people that we knew had off-gassed already. So when you go to buy clothing, what you want to look for is the GOTS certification. So that's a third-party certification where it guarantees that the fabric and the clothing are environmentally friendly, they're organic, they're fair trade, everything in that process. So it's like the most ideal thing you can find. Not everything is going to be GOTS certified. Not everything we own is GOTS certified, but that's like the ideal thing. When you're looking for clothing, and the reason that we want to go more of that route is because many of the clothing contains dyes, formaldehyde, phthalates. The waterproofing that some clothes have is very toxic, contains flame retardants, bleach, ammonia, pesticides, fossil fuels, like all this stuff that just like globs onto your clothing. And then that clothing sits on the skin all day. And the skin is the largest organ that we have. So it's not this thing to take lightly. Like what we put on our skin, including our clothing, really matters to the overall health of our body, which is why we were so intentional about it with Isaac still today and with Isla, because they're developing, like they've got organs that are still developing. Like I don't want anything going on their body that could be causing them harm. So with myself, we do the best we can, but I buy clothing from Target and Lululemon and things like that have some of these chemicals in it. I'm not perfect by any means. So I'm not here to shame in any way, but those are like some of the things that you want to consider as to why we go organic. It's not like this hoity-toity thing. I find, again, because it's a financial thing, right? It does cost more money. So I find that some people are like, oh, you have to buy organic clothing. Well, I'm not buying it to be hoity-toity and uppity. I'm buying it because I don't want my children's lungs and heart to be affected by formaldehyde that is being sprayed on all these clothes. Again, not here to shame or guilt. I'm just saying this is like what my thought process is. The other thing, if you are going to buy clothes that aren't organic, or even if they are organic, wash them. I know a lot of people love the feel of a new clothing before it's been washed, but wash it because that will strip some of the chemicals, especially if the clothing is made in a different country. Many of them spray it with like the formaldehyde or the toxic waterproofing to prevent mold from growing on the clothes as it ships over. You do not want that stuff on your skin. So just wash your clothes first. That at least is like one good step that you can take before putting them on your body. And so with that, some of my favorite organic brands that we've bought from: Packed, Mighty Organic, Finn and Emma, and Little Co. actually at Kohl's. They are all GOTS certified. And Little Co. at Kohl's is actually pretty decently priced, I think. Some other ones that are good that are not necessarily GOTS certified, but are organic are Spearmint Love, Hudson Baby. Hudson Baby is actually pretty well priced. They have a weird return policy though, just FYI. And Burt's Bees Organic. So those are some good little swap brands there that you can look into. Okay, moving on to bedding and pillows, because I know this seems kind of weird when I'm talking about toddler swaps, but kids sleep a lot. And Again, just like the clothes that we wear all day, the sheets and the pillows that we sleep on for 8+ hours a day. Maybe if you're a mom, you're not getting that much sleep, but our kiddos are hopefully getting that much sleep. And so what they're laying on and what they're, being covered up in really does matter. So blankets, sheets, pillowcases, the pillows themselves, beds actually really badly off gas. So if you can afford it, get an organic mattress for your kiddo. Again, sometimes Marketplace or other sites do a really good deal of like selling, a used mattress. I know some people are like, I don't want to buy a used mattress, but might be a great idea to look into for kiddos. But buy organic when possible for all their bedding. And again, wash it first. And then a couple other little things like lotions. I talked a little bit earlier about hand soaps and stuff like that. Lotions, we love Earth Mama, Primally Pure, and pipettes. I think it's pipettes is how you say it. I'm probably botching that. Again, I'll leave all these things in the show notes. So if you want to go check them out. For cuts, scrapes, things like that, because toddlers are running around, they're falling all the time. We've already had many run-ins with this. For cuts and scrapes, we really avoid Neosporin. Neosporin contains petroleum jelly, which has actually been banned in the EU. It's not banned here. So anything with petroleum jelly, we do not use. And I know Neosporin has been like around forever. It's definitely what I used as a kid growing up. So again, no guilt, shame here. But it also kills like all the bacteria there. It's just not great for you. So we use a product called Acia. They have a oral drink that you can use like to do it helps a lot with like gut health and cellular inflammation, but you could also do like eye washes with it. So if you got something in your eye, I've used Acia before in my eye to do like an eye wash, but they also have like a gel, and that's what we use for cuts and scrapes. So it helps speed up cellular communication and healing. And so it doesn't contain toxic ingredients. So that's what we use for that. With burns, we use pure aloe. So again, I can't even think about what other people use for burns that you would swap, but we just use pure aloe. It's really cheap. You can buy 100% aloe, at a grocery store, health food store. If you have an aloe plant, you can squeeze out the gel itself. So that's what we use for burns. And then sunscreen, kind of along the lines of like, I was kind of thinking of like my son accidentally touched a hot pan the other day and got a burn. So that was kind of what I was thinking there. But for sunscreen, like prevention of a burn, we don't, again, sunscreen is very toxic as well. Look at the Think Dirty app, scan your sunscreens, look at them, look what's in them. Many of them have cancer causing chemicals in them, which you put on your body and then you go out and it heats up and leaches straight into your body. It's very toxic. It's one of the things that I'm probably most passionate about. I'm not saying that you don't wear any sunscreen or that you like sit in the sun all day without anything. I'm a big proponent of, getting sunshine and sunlight without anything on your body for short periods of time. And then, you can use one of my swaps or, get in the shade, put a hat on your face or put a hat over your face, those kind of things. But for sunscreen, Ion Biome skin spray, I'll go into Ion Biome probably when I do an episode on like gut bacteria and our gut, but they have a skin spray that's amazing. It's incredible. The other thing that you can do is healthy fats. So up your healthy fats when summertime comes. Healthy fats are key to keeping cellular inflammation low. So things like coconut oil, avocado oil, ghee, butter, those kind of things are all so good for the cells, and it lowers that inflammation to where the sun isn't going to do as much damage. There's also, if you go to the detox market, it's one of my favorite stores. And many of the things I talked about today, you can find healthy alternatives for, like shampoos, lotions, makeup, beauty products. They collectively have a bunch of brands on their store that you can search through for your favorites, but they also have some healthy sunscreens on there that you can use that don't contain all the nasty stuff. So, and then the last thing that I'll end on, because I know this episode is going a little longer than I intended, is kitchenware. This is the number 10, or maybe this is actually a bonus. I feel like I already did 10. This might have been a bonus one. But I find that kitchenware, because kids are eating, or if you have a toddler, like they're getting into stuff all day long. So with kitchenware, if you can, this is one of the harder things to transition over, because many people have a bunch of plastic containers, things like that. This was us too, right before Isaac. And this was like one of the things where I'm like, nope, we're just donating, we're getting rid of all of it, and I'm buying all new stuff. So we bought glass and a lot of stainless steel with plates, cups, storage containers, anything like that. It's stainless steel or glass typically. We do have some trays that are plastic. I bought the trays mostly for like arts and fun things, but occasionally food does end up on them. So I'm not perfect all the time. We use a lot of glass bowls, stainless steel bowls, stainless steel cups, silicone. You can use, it's not 100% as great as glass or stainless steel, but you can use silicone straws, anything like that. What you're really wanting to avoid is all plastic, and even plasticized bamboo still contains like BPA, BPS, BPF, I think is what they're all called. And all of that stuff leaches its chemicals, especially when it's heated. So if you put it in the microwave, the dishwasher, in the sink with hot water, you put hot food on it, it leaches it leaches out. So if you have food on it, it's going to leach out into your food. The reason that this is so important, I mean, I know that people look at, like, well, what's the difference between glass and plastic? Like the food's just sitting in there. It's in the fridge. It's not hot, so it's not heating up. The one thing that I always come back to that like always sticks in my mind is a study that the EWG did back in 2005. And they found, I think it was on like 10 babies. And I know that there's been a lot more studies done since then on this, but this is just the one that always stands out in my brain, is that they found over 287 chemicals in the umbilical cord blood of those babies. And those were things like pesticides, chemicals used in like stains and oils, chemicals used in food packaging, Teflon, mercury, all that kind of stuff. And of the 287, I have it written here because I couldn't totally remember all this, 180 of them were known to cause cancer in humans or animals. 217 of them are toxic to the brain and nervous system, and 208 of them can cause defects and abnormal development. So when I talk about like toxins and why it's so important, it's not just like this hoity-toity thing to like live this organic, natural life. It's like 287 chemicals in an umbilical cord of of a new baby, a brand new baby. Like that should blow your mind. I hope it blows your mind because it's horrible. Like it's horrible. And that was 2005. We're almost 20 years past that study. Is our world getting sicker or healthier? Because I feel like we're getting sicker. Chronic diseases on the rise. Things that kids are struggling with these days are higher than they were 20 years ago. Like things are not getting better, but we have the power to make better decisions of the things that we use in our day-to-day life. And that's kind of what these swaps were for. There's a lot of things that we've swapped in our life, and I can try to make lists upon lists. But when I went around the house of like, okay, what does Isaac use daily? Those were like some of the top 10. And this is also like why, and I'll just do this on another episode, why I detoxed so much before getting pregnant with Isaac, because I didn't want him to be born with 287 chemicals in his umbilical cord. And a lot of that comes from mom too. It's the exposure that as a mother we've accumulated through our entire life. So again, this isn't a shame. This isn't a moment of shame or guilt. Some of it is just life. Like the air that we breathe can contain toxins. Like the brand new car that we buy for our kids can be filled with, or, like to drive our kids around and stuff like that, can be filled with chemicals. Like there are just some things that we 100% can't avoid, but it accumulates in our body. And then as we are creating a human, that stuff gets leached into them, gets leached into the umbilical cord, and it gets passed down. And so this is why pre-pregnancy health is so, 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 so important. I will do a whole episode on that probably multiple times over because it is so important. And I spent 6 years really, really preparing for pregnancy. I understand that not everybody has 6 years, but at least 6 months before deciding to get pregnant is a great time to really start cleaning up some of this stuff just to help decrease the number of chemicals and toxins that get passed down to baby. Again, it's not a shame. I know that I passed down things to Isaac that, we can't avoid, but you do the best that you can with the information that you have. So that being said, this episode ran so much longer than I intended, so hope you bared with me. I hope this was helpful. Yeah, if you guys want me to do any other kind of swaps, just find me on social media or subscribe to my email and let me know.